can't believe he's still not here.
He's really taking the piss with this holiday stuff, isn't he?
He's probably not even on holiday. I didn't see any pictures, did you?
I haven't seen anything on his Instagram.
Yeah, it's a bit of a joke, to be honest. This week we're talking about Francis Ngannou. Is he the scariest heavyweight in UFC history? Cage Warriors, was that the bloodiest fight in MMA history? We're also going to talk to Will Fleury, who fights in 2 weeks. And also, we're going to look at the UFC 239. UFC on ESPN 3 went down last weekend. It saw Francis Ngannou get a huge knockout over Junior Dos Santos in round 1. And also Benavidez finished UCA Formiga, and there was plenty of other big results on the card. But I want to start with the main event. Francis Ngannou, I said it at the top on the intro, is he the scariest heavyweight in UFC history?
Yeah, probably. Like, he just has that knockout power that makes you go, ooh.
Yeah, it's unusual.
Yeah, it's freaky. Junior's left wondering why he threw the right overhand and why he turned his back. But I mean, Francis can do that to you, man. It's scary.
Yeah, and it's weird, isn't it? Because Junior has faced some big punchers, and it seemed like when he got hit there and the way he just turned his back, like it's a weird power. And I've seen a lot of people, like MMA analysts, talk about Francis Ngannou and talk about the problems that he has, and there's definitely plenty there, and we can talk about what we saw. But like, you got to give it to him. There has to be something there.
Yeah.
Like him finishing all these heavyweights so quickly, there's something there.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of people were talking about the Cain Velasquez one, you know, how it looked like his knee buckled and stuff. And there's plenty of other fights where like you can kind of nitpick, but you have to give it to Francis Ngannou. He has something special there in those fists. He
just has an equalizer.
Yeah.
As raw as he is with all his other aspects of MMA, he just has an equalizer in that right hand.
And Ngannou, what did we learn about him? Because my big thing with Ngannou over his last few fights, apart from the Derek Lewis one, well, you can kind of count it as well because nothing happened, but they've been ending really early.
Yeah.
And I am not confident if he's put in against someone like Stipe Miocic that we're going to see anything different, because we haven't seen it. So are you kind of on the same wavelength?
Yeah, I don't think we've learned that new about him, really. We haven't seen anyone take him past whatever minute or something in the round.
Apart from Derek Lewis. Yeah. But that was just...
nothing happened.
It barely was a fight.
We haven't... He may well be training in wrestling. I'd assume he has. I hope he has.
I hope he has, yeah.
But we haven't seen anyone do that to him. Yeah, we haven't learned anything from him to say, he's ready to go with Stipe again. Yeah,
and that's the unfortunate thing, because it's so impressive. It's very, very impressive to see him go in there and beat these guys so quickly, but I would just like to see him put on a well-rounded performance against somebody, even if like there's not too many takedown attempts, but he does deal with them. It's just we haven't seen it, and I think that's the problem going in. But like, now you're looking at him beating Curtis Blades, who you know, was coming up as a contender and looked good, so he's beat him. Cain Velasquez, fair enough, you can talk about Cain not being the same guy, and Junior probably a little bit long in the tooth in terms of like his kind of run now in the UFC, but he has looked good recently. I think there are 3 great wins, and like, it's hard to deny that he shouldn't get the next title fight.
I don't see why he doesn't get the next title shot, even with all the doubts around has he improved since losing to Stipe.
It's kind of the merit thing, isn't it?
Those 3 wins, you deserve a title shot with those 3 wins. Anyone else, Junior only needs 1 win apparently to get a title shot. So
Dana White said that it's not that easy, as in the answer isn't that easy. Does he get the next title fight? He's saying he needs to see what happens with Stipe and Cormier. I assume he probably has the Jones thing in his mind, maybe bring him up. So I understand that, but I think on merit, it's got to be Francis next. It really does.
You can obviously match him up against some guys, but he definitely deserves it. On a meritocracy based thing, he should be getting the next shot.
And what about Junior Dos Santos? What do you think about his, I guess, future career in this division?
I didn't like the way he turned his back. I don't know whether he would have done that 10 years ago, would he? I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure I'd like to see him go on for much longer. That's a heavy knockout.
Yeah, I'm not sure where he takes it, because it's a difficult road back. We spoke about it in the preview show, and we said like, this is a brilliant moment for Junior, because Cain Velasquez is seemingly gone from the picture, and you know, while Cain Velasquez was around, and if he became champion again, You just weren't going to see that. You seen the first fight between Junior and Kane. The second fight was...
Kane rearranged his face.
Yeah, the second was similar, so that just wasn't going to happen. Now with Kane gone, new champion, I think this was a perfect time for Junior to break out again. And I just think now that's a tough loss for him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure where he's going to go from it. I'm not saying he's done, but that's a tough loss.
I definitely think he can come back and get wins in the heavyweight division.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Yeah. But is he going to be... There's going to have to be a fight before a title fight, and is he at that level anymore? Probably not.
Who knows? But big win for Ngannou. We'll see what they do with him next. Joseph Benavidez beat Jussier Formiga in the co-main event. Big finish for Joseph Benavidez, one that he needed. He called out Henry Cejudo after the fight. Should that be the next fight?
Yeah. I don't think this is a fight people would be calling for if Joey didn't have a win over Cejudo, but it makes total sense. There's a storyline there. The challenger has a win over the champion. The champion has gone on to do huge things in the last year and a bit. So yeah, I don't see why you wouldn't make this fight. If you want to make an interim title fight at bantam, do that. Yeah, and Joseph Benavidez has, like, he only wins in this division unless he's fighting Demetrius Johnson. He has that one loss against Sergio Pettis. Very close. Very close. But he just wins, and he usually looks impressive. This is probably the most impressive we've seen him in a while. Yeah. Great finish over a top-ranked guy who's getting better. Like, I think Formiga was getting better over the years, so that's a big win for him. I think a lot of people have goodwill for Benavidez. I've seen Aljamain Sterling said that he'd defer his title fight at bantamweight for Joseph because he just feels that he deserves it, especially after that win, so that's good. But yeah, I'd like to see that fight happen. He really seems that now Mighty Mouse is out of the picture and that it's Cejudo with the belt. He really seems to have the bit between his teeth that he can actually go and win a belt. So he looked phenomenal the other night. I really like him. But yeah, I think I don't see why you don't make that fight next. It has a story here, you know. If they make if they make the fight between like Uriah Faber or something like that, imagine Uriah Faber got a win and they done it. Wouldn't surprise me with the UFC. But yeah, Damian Maia beat Rocco Martin, Anthony Martin, in a fight that I don't think a lot of people would have enjoyed. But it was Damian Maia doing what Damian Maia does. I was happy with the scorecard. I thought I was fine with it. Martin, kind of like what we talked about in the lead up, he's just not that dynamic, and I think that was always going to happen. That's a result. Yeah, it was a very winnable fight for Damian Maia. I think even in the aftermath we've seen him hinting at one more fight in retirement. Did he say Diego Sanchez? Did he? I think he might say Diego Sanchez. For me, I like that fight. You like anything to do with Diego Sanchez. But when I hear a fighter saying one more fight, I'd kind of like you to pack it in now. But the thing about Damian Maia is he is a martial artist. Like you talk about some fighters being it, he is 100% a martial artist. So I'm sure he loves it, you know. But Martin, not sure where he goes, but Damian Maia, if he has one more fight and it is against Diego Sanchez, that'd be fun. I'd like to see that. Just considering as we'll talk about, Diego Sanchez is an excellent grappler, so it'd be fun. Anything else stand out on the card for you? Roosevelt Roberts looked good, but lost a decision, which I kind of agree with. It was fine decision. Drew Dober looked great. Huge finish of Paulo Reyes. Expected that one. And the Menifee finish. Alonzo Menafield beat Paul Craig in a stoppage I thought was late and a bit questionable in terms of Menafield following up when he probably should not have followed up. And what I mean by that is I thought the referee was late coming in, and once he came in, it seemed like Menafield just landed one more shot that he definitely shouldn't have done. He could have pulled that. Yeah, well, it was a rotten stoppage to start with. It was. Really poor stoppage. It did look like he got a sneaky one. Like it came over the referee. There is always that debate of if you've started, it's hard to pull out. I don't know. You see the ref come in. Could the ref make more of an attempt to... I don't know. It was. He did dive on them though. Yeah, it was very poor. Terrible referee though. Terrible referee. Terrible. But yeah, I thought that was late. The commentary didn't really pick up on it. Really don't like seeing that either. Like, it's not nice to see. Yeah. That might be Paul Craig done in the UFC as well, which is a bit of a shame for Craig fans. And he's had some big moments in the UFC, but that might be it. Nothing else was really jumping out on that card. There's a few other ones, but let's move on to Cage Warriors. Cage Warriors saw a bloodbath in the main event. It was Cage Warriors 106. Houston and Dalby fight went to a no contest due to both guys being too injured and the environment, the mat,
being too bloody to fight on. The guys were slipping around. So we got a comment by Aidan Mack, who was a long-standing listener of the show, and he was very, very unhappy with this stoppage. He thought that Mark Goddard imposed himself too much on the fight, and that he stopped it unnecessarily. What's your thoughts?
I was saying this to you beforehand. I can totally see why people don't like Mark Goddard and think he has a big ego. It's not for me to say whether he does or doesn't really. I personally thought he got the stoppage right. I think it was very fair what he done. I think the canvas, the vinyl, was very slippy, and they couldn't stand up. I mean, you seen them on the ground try to stand up and they slipped. And I mean, if it happens that, say, Dalby goes to get up and snaps his ankle when he's getting up, then everyone's like, well, why didn't Goddard stop the fight?
That's the thing, isn't it?
So I have absolutely no issues with a fight or with a referee erring on the side of caution and taking the fighter's best interests to heart. So
yeah, like, I understand where Aidan's coming from, especially when you look at it in the sense of, like, if this went to decision, you might be taking away a win from a guy when there wasn't too much time left in the round. But I also see where you're coming from. If there was a slip, that could have been ugly, and Mark Goddard would have got criticised for it. So he's not really in a great situation, as like many refs are never in a good situation with stoppages like this, or any kind of stoppage. Like, you're always going to be scrutinised. So yeah, I was fine with it in the time. Like when he stopped it, I was like, I understand. I understand why he stopped that.
He has to take the fighter's best interest. The fighters might not always like that. He has to take it upon him to say, no, this isn't a safe environment for you guys to compete. Like, it's a weird, because I've seen people argue that, you know, in a sport where you can head kick people and you can do all this brain damage to people, that you know, stopping a fight because of a slippery surface is a bit weird. But then you're like, is it? Because it's not.
You're making it. They shouldn't be fighting on an environment that's unsafe.
It was basically like fighting on tarpaulin. And like, it's about giving them a safe environment to compete, and it wasn't that with the amount of blood on the can on the vinyl.
It was getting a bit ridiculous, to be fair, but it was a really good fight.
Brilliant scrap.
I don't know if it's the bloodiest fight in MMA history. There's been a few other fights that I can recall that were really bloody. Like, I think we gave you Joe Lozon against
that was a bloodbath.
That was a bloodbath too. But blood in MMA is weird, because when they grapple, it just gets everywhere.
Yeah, and you can see it especially from the guy who's on top, because you can just see it drip, drip, drip.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. I absolutely loved this fight at the weekend. Thought it was brilliant.
Yeah, I know. I was like, it was a bit grim, wasn't it? And you were like, oh, I loved it. It was a great fight, though, to be fair. And fair play to both guys, Houston and Dalby, and I'd love to see them run it back. I'm sure they will.
Yeah, the cuts, the cut on Dalby's head that Houston opened up with the elbow was nasty, and some job done by the cut man to close that cut up. An absolutely brilliant job. So
unbelievable. You just threw it, just old school, just throw a blob of Vaseline in there and you're grand.
Yeah. The punch that broke Houston's nose as well, cracker. Brilliant right hand down the pipe.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on vinyl?
Like, I didn't know there was two different materials. This is me being a total casual now. I didn't know there was
you're not casual. You're a newer fan.
I didn't know there was two different materials used. I assumed, because it's always called the canvas. So I assumed it was just canvas. And then I heard this vinyl thing, and I was like, why are you using vinyl if it's slippier? And I understand you want to clean the blood, but... And this is where I get annoyed now with people having an issue with blood being on the canvas because of media stuff. This is legalised more than we're watching here. And you have an issue with a bit of swearing on telly or a bit of blood on the canvas. It's like, come on, get over yourself. Like,
it doesn't fit.
It
doesn't fit. There was a discussion between, I wouldn't say discussion, maybe a bit of an argument between one of the commentators for Cage Warriors and Big John McCarthy. Go check it out on Twitter. Go to Big John McCarthy's replies and check it out there. The argument was that for broadcast reasons they use vinyl, so they can wipe the blood off, as you said. But it was being broadcast on Fight Pass, and I don't think Fight Pass would be very against blood. No. I don't think they have a problem with that. It's MMA.
It's a name, innit? Fight Pass.
So. Joy Herbert got a huge win as well in the common event. That was a great finish. Mads Burnell, really good performance. Former UFC guy. The James Webb one was a bit of a controversial one. It ended in a draw. Some weird scorecards.
Majority draw.
Yeah, majority draw. Yeah. Some weird scorecards and a very weird fight. Matthias Frederick was a bit of a dick, I thought.
Yeah. I mean, there was a first one that was close to being a spike. So Frederick was deducted a point for a spike, and there was one before that was
close enough.
It wasn't a spike, but it was close, and he was warned over it. Goddard warned him. And then this one was as blatant, the spike.
It was a spike,
He lifted him up and planted him on his head.
Pile driver.
And Goddard took a point off him, rightly so. Frederick lost the head, really.
I honestly wouldn't have cared if he disqualified him there and then.
No, I thought...
and there's like a... For people, like, and Aiden kind of said that he thinks that he has a big ego. I think Mark Goddard done well not to disqualify him here, because other referees probably would have said, here, fuck this. Like, you're being an absolute arsehole right now. Like, you're clearly not appreciating my authority in the cage. You've just spiked this guy clearly. And, like, a disqualification would have been fine here, I thought.
Yeah, I thought he was very, very fair and a bit lenient not to disqualify.
I thought he was lenient, yeah. And then, obviously, it finished, and, there was a bit of... They kind of embraced at the end, but I just thought Frederick didn't really... I don't know. His attitude wasn't great in this fight, I didn't think.
Shit, really.
It was fairly shit. But James Webb keeps the title because it was a draw. What else stood out to you on the card? I know you watched the full card.
The flyweight title fight was really good. I can't remember the guys' names.
Fadine and Cris.
Yeah. It Cris was fighting for the second time for the title? One of them was fighting for the second time for the flyweight title, but the finish was really good. Yeah. The guy was really awkward, and your man threw a punch, left his hands down, and just got cleaned. Yeah, a really good finish. Really brilliant card. Really enjoyed it. Yeah, it was really good. Some good results on the rest of the card. Darren O'Gorman's one of the Irish guys or the only Irish guy in the card, I think, who fought, and he did lose that fight, split decision. Good card from Cage Warriors. A lot of people raving on it. I think a lot of people tuned in because of the whole Night of Champions thing, and it was a good time to tune in for the first time for Cage Warriors, I thought. Definitely picked up some new fans. Cris Cyborg said that Dana White lied and she didn't turn down a rematch with Amanda Nunes. Amanda came out and said that an offer was made to Cris Cyborg to fight her. Cris Cyborg turned it down. Dana White confirmed this and said it as well. And now Cyborg came out and said that no, she didn't. It was more of a contractual thing. So Cris Cyborg has one fight left in her contract. So I want to ask you this question because there was a big debate on Reddit about this, and I'm interested to hear what you say. Okay. So it seems like the situation is that the UFC have offered Cris Cyborg the fight, probably a new contract, and probably not like a better contract, probably the same, I don't know. But basically, she has one fight left on her deal. They offered her the fight plus a new contract, but she's not happy with the contract, so they're saying that she declined the fight. She declined the contract?
She declined the contract.
In my opinion, there, because she, as a fighter, you have to back yourself, and so she's thinking, well, if I go beat Amanda, then I'm obviously worth more. Yeah. So then that contract is sort of, it's not paying me what I'm worth. It's not valid for what, it's the same as Conor gets a new contract every fight. Like his last contract was for 8 fights, but like it
doesn't matter. Yeah. But I don't think Cyborg would be able to just renegotiate straight away.
That's it. Like, so if she's backing herself, she obviously thinks she's going to win the rematch against Amanda. So she's saying, right, well, I don't want a contract based on my pre-fight value. Yeah. I want a new contract based on my post-fight value, which is totally understandable. And like, as a business, from a business point of view, I would expect nothing less from a fighter. Yeah. So I'm fine with it both ways, but I think that Dana White has gone down the wrong road with it, as usual. Classic I think Dana. Like it's a really poor tactic for relationship wise to come out and say that she declined the fight when it looks like she didn't. Yeah. She declined the contract, but I understand why they're not giving her a title fight without a new contract. Yeah. So it kind of goes both ways, but yeah, that is something the UFC do a lot of. They do. Just to put pressure on fighters. And we've seen before Ariel has called them out for announcing fights early, stuff like that, to just put pressure on fighters, and make the fighter look bad. Yeah. So make Cyborg. Like, Cyborg is not turning down a fight with Amanda Nunes. She wants that. Once already, look. And she wants it. She came out and said she wanted it. So, it's they can't come to a deal. It wouldn't be like Dana White to lie, would it? No, he always tells the truth. The English MMA Association launched and includes Dan Hardy and Mark Goddard as people on the panel. So there was a bit of confusion about this. We're not going to spend too much time on it. Basically, it's an organisation that will promote the kind of the goodwill and the development of amateur MMA in the UK as well as pro, I believe. It's not a promotion. It's it's like a system. It's like almost like the FA, I guess, is what you'd say. But there's some good guys involved. Not too much information on it. It's similar to what the Irish one is, but I don't know how they're going to deal with all the stuff. But it's more of an effort. It's good to see. Like, it does bring some legitimacy to the sport when you have it operating at a grassroots level. Yeah. So it can, in my opinion, with guys like Dan Hardy, Matt Goddard, 2 OGs of the MMA game in the UK, like, it can only do good things. I hope so. Yeah, good to see.
Yeah, it just has to be handled the correct way.
Yeah.
Darren Till broke his silence on his Tenerife arrest. He said that it was basically blown out of proportion. He said that he wasn't really involved in what basically got him arrested, which was stealing a car, I believe, and trashing a hotel. But he also said that he's going to return this year for a fight in the UFC. So what's your thoughts on his comments about the arrest? He's finally broke his silence.
A bit like Shaggy, wasn't it? Wasn't me.
Yeah.
We were talking a bit off air about this. I said before when this incident happened that it sounded like Darren Till got out of Liverpool back in the day. He obviously was stabbed as well, but it did kind of sound like he was hanging around with the wrong crowd.
Yeah. He might be gone back.
I kind of fear that that's happening again. We have seen him go on a 2-fight skid. He seems like a guy who just gets distracted.
Yeah.
He's a very volatile guy, a very high-profile guy, especially in a city like Liverpool, where they adore their sports stars. They adore them. But that can also attract the wrong crowd. And it does sound like that's happened. I think he does need to isolate himself.
I agree.
So I hope he does that. I hope he's learned from it. It sounds like he needs to go back to Brazil maybe. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, what's your thoughts?
It's hard to say. Like, I hope it's true. I hope he wasn't involved, because like you can easily see a guy who's famous, getting the blame for it, because like if you're away with a lot of lads, they start fucking messing around. One of them steals a taxi. What are you gonna say? Like if people say, "Oh, it was like Darren Till's mates," and then it kind of moves to, "Oh, so Darren Till done it." So I can understand how that can happen. I don't know. Like I wouldn't be surprised either way. Whenever it happens. But I do hope that he does isolate himself away from people that maybe aren't the best people to be around. Similar thing probably happened with Conor McGregor, we can say. But yeah, I do hope he does come back this year and we do see him. Give him a manageable fight, a good fight, and see, because he still has a lot of upside, I think. Yeah. He's had some bad losses and some, that was a really bad knockout loss, but I still think he has some upside, so I'd be interested to see him coming back. Yeah,
there's a ceiling there for him. There's a high ceiling there for him that he can reach some very good highs.
I think he's like a 25, 26. He's still
so
young.
He's a baby in the sport. We've seen him get that win over Cowboy. It's been, and Thompson as well, actually. Forgot that one. But yeah, there's a high enough ceiling there. I hope he dedicates himself to the sport a bit more, and that we can see the best of him, because I don't think that will happen if he continues to surround himself with the wrong crowd.
That was an interview with Jim Edwards, and go check it out, because it was funny. He told a story about when he got arrested. He was in prison. One of the guards knew who he was, so he was a fan. He was actually done jiu-jitsu, so he came up to him and said, "If you follow me on Instagram, I'll get you some food." So he followed him on Instagram and got him some food, which I thought was very funny. But yeah, that's the main news that we want to talk about today. Did you see anything else when you were browsing around?
I'm trying to think now. I'm blanking a bit now. I had other stuff.
I have some.
You have something. Go.
Yeah, I have some. Bieber and Cruz.
Oh,
as in Tom Cruise, not Dominic Cruz. Do you know what's weird about this one, right? Is that like we shouldn't take it seriously.
What's weird about this one?
No, we shouldn't take it seriously, obviously. Yeah. Right? But the fact that Dana White is actually entertaining it makes me feel a little bit uneasy, because you're supposed to be promoting the best fighters in the world, and they have stooped to certain levels, but like this is another level altogether. If it does happen, plenty of people will watch. He's basically said he came out and confirmed that he is interested. Like if they want to fight, he'll promote it. If they do it, please don't promote it with the UFC. Please do it as a separate thing, like Maymac type thing, celebrity boxing or celebrity fucking MMA, because if you promote this on a UFC card, that stinks. That fucking stinks.
If you put the Zuffa name or the UFC name anywhere near this, it's fucking rotten.
It's rotten.
It stinks.
Yeah.
It makes a show of the whole sport. It's
embarrassing.
It's disgusting.
That is embarrassing.
Yeah. It's brutal. And like then you have the comments around. I'm going to bring up Brendan McNann again. You have the comments like, how is he not getting a contract?
I know, yeah.
And then you have Dana even entertaining.
I heard Tom Cruise got finished the other night when he was fighting someone.
Given this shit show of a fucking...
See the Mummy?
No.
Terrible. Awful. I do like Tom Cruise though.
It's ridiculous. Like these guys are running multi-billion-dollar businesses, and then you have Dana. I can't understand how it enters Dana's mind from a branding perspective to even entertain this fight. Like
that's what I'm saying. If he wants to do it outside of the UFC, like just do like some kind of
little personal pet project,
exactly, some novelty thing, go ahead, knock yourself out. I don't care. Whatever. But if he's putting this on a UFC card, wow. Like, they have stooped to some levels. You can talk about CM Punk all you like. At least the guy he was fighting was a fighter, and at least, you know, he had some kind of athletic background. And that stunk as well. I don't know what I'm talking about. That stunk as well. But this one is just an absolute cash grab.
This is white collar. If these guys fight, there has to be headgear and shin guards.
It has to be.
It has to be. And I don't know what
Tom
clubs.
Cruise like fucking 60.
Like, there's no way this gets licensed as a professional fight. Without a doubt, it's a fucking white collar fight if it happens. Put it in a leisure centre down the road in Ireland or something.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Like.
Yeah. It'd do gangbusters, that wouldn't it? Do some business.
Oh, stop.
Oh, man. That would be like the highest. That would be the biggest combat sports pay-per-view ever.
Do you know what?
Isn't that sad?
That's the worst bit as well. It'd do over a million pay-per-views as well.
It would do like 2 million pay-per-views. That would do May Mac numbers.
Yeah.
That is sad.
That's brutal.
Bieber would probably come down singing his way. Tom Cruise would like have all his Scientologist mates come down.
Probably get, or not Bieber, Cruise would probably get a stand-in to do his stunts from.
Cruise does his own stunts, though, to be fair. Ah, man. Kelvin Gastelum says he wants a November return. He said that Jack Hermanson is a fight he's looking after. I like that one.
Yeah, I like it. I like that he's taking a bit of time off because that was a heavy duty fight that with Israel.
Ooh,
so
yeah.
yeah, I like that he's taking a bit of time off. Yeah, I think it makes sense. And I like that Hermanson fight. Good fight.
That is a good fight. But yeah, I think that's it. There's not really anything else news wise. So I think we shall move on, and we should get on the Raw bastard himself, Will fucking Fleury. So we're now joined by Will Fleury, who fights Antonio Jones at Bellator 224 on the 12th of July in less than 2 weeks. And Will, first things first, how's things? How are you?
Yeah, man, fucking good. Killing it.
Excellent. Yeah, so this was announced last week, this fight. I'm not sure if this was in the works for a while, but it seems very short notice, or was it?
Yeah, so originally I was trying to get on that London card, and then I was told if I didn't get on that, I'd get something afterwards. I didn't get on that card, but I was training away in case somebody pulled out anyway. And then about 6 weeks ago, they offered me a Samoan guy. I accepted him straight away. The contract never came back. Obviously, like I don't know what the fuck was happening, but I thought I was lined up to fight that lad for about 4 or 5 weeks. It never got announced. I kept asking them what was happening. And then about this day last week, they were like, oh, that guy's pulled out. We're going to try and find somebody else. And then your man Antonio Jones came in on a 190 catch weight. So nice. I'll be fighting Antonio Jones, 190.
I'd say when that contract didn't come back, you're like, fuck's sake, this is the story of my career.
Yeah, even the Yanks are pulling out on Will fucking Fleury.
Yeah. Yeah, so
look, somebody's showing up. That's the main thing, man.
Exactly. And it's one of the big kind of things that people are reporting on, and this one is that it's your US debut, and it's something that you were calling for after your fight. You wanted to fight a few Yanks. So how does it feel now going into your US debut?
Yeah, it's a fucking huge opportunity. So it's just, it feels like this is your chance to get in and fucking smash it, basically. And like, I'm pretty fucking excited to be the guy or to be one of the people who gets to go over and fucking represent Irish MMA and European MMA and go in and go, here, look, we're way fucking better than you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a cool, like, I'm properly pumped up for this fight. Like, as in, I know I'm pumped up for every fight anyway, but, like, there is something a bit special about being an Irish guy going to America to fight. Like,
what's the feeling like compared to like the Tree Arena? Because I know for a long time you wanted to fight there, and I remember being at one of the cards. It was actually the card where Conor jumped the cage, and I remember you were sitting with I think Tommy Martin in the crowd, and you were talking, and I could hear it in your voice, like you were like, I want to be in that cage right now. So what's the different feeling being like preparing for the Tree Arena versus preparing for the US? It's kind of a different thing.
That's what, like, preparing for the Tree Arena, it feels like you're doing this for you.
Yeah.
And you get to enjoy it, like, with your people, with your fucking ball. Like, it's your thing. And it's like, that guy's coming over to fucking facilitate you getting on this card.
Yeah. And
the crowd are there for you. And, like, I didn't know what sort of reception. Like, I hadn't actually fought in the Tree. I wanted to feel it. And then when I felt it, I was like, oh, fuck, this is incredible. And I want to do this as many times as I can in my career. So, like, going over to America in comparison feels more like you have an opportunity now and a responsibility. You know, you're representing Irish MMA and you're representing your fucking self, obviously, as well, which you are in the Tree Arena too. But it's a bit different. You're kind of like, you're Irish now. Being Irish in the Tree Arena, fucking everybody's Irish.
Yeah.
You know, whereas like, I have to go out and fucking show them we're the fucking thing. We're here to be respected. Like, there's not just Conor McGregor. There's fucking Will Fleury. There's a load of other cunts coming up here. we have a standard, we have a level, and it's above your fucking level. So I kind of feel that like responsibility to go in and put on a fucking serious performance and just destroy this lad. And it's more of a feeling of like you're the only representative we have going over. And I know I'm not, like, I know Kiefer and Sinead are going over, but the fucking emotion in my heart is like, you're going out and fucking doing this for Ireland. Like,
yeah.
I know that sounds like bollocks, but that is what I'm buying into at the moment. Like,
man, sounds good. You were like one of many Irish fighters in that card, but I felt being in the arena that you were probably one of the guys that got the biggest reception. How did that feel, you know, coming in?
It was fucking cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know what sort of reception I was going to get. And I was waiting backstage, you know, when the fight before me was going on. And it seemed a bit kind of, you know, it was a good atmosphere and there was a good few people there, but the crowd weren't massively engaged. And then Taylor came out, there was no massive reaction off the crowd. And then I came out and fuck, there was a lift.
Yeah.
And that gave me a huge boost, as in the energy I got from that. And like, I was already very pumped up, obviously. Like, you know, I was going into a fight anyway. So regardless, I was psyched. But just, there was a level of emotion that hit me at that point. And like, I harnessed it. I did well with it. Like, but I was like, yeah, it was overwhelming in a way. Like, as in like, I'm glad I was just able to go, yeah, this is your fucking time. This is your thing. These people are here. They're screaming you on. This is incredible. Embrace it. Like, but there was a big energy. And I loved that energy. Like, and I'm delighted there was such big energy. You know what I mean? It was just, it gave me like, a huge boost, I suppose.
You said, Will, there just with the big wave of energy you felt when you stood out and there was a lift. Was that something you feel like you learned from the loss, as in, okay, take a little step back here and I got to harness this in the right way so that it doesn't overcome me?
Yeah, see, I think the thing with that fight down in Rome, there wasn't that. Like, it was more like an advanced sparring session to show how good you were, was the way I felt about it. If you know, like, there was no level of primal kind of like fear of just like, this guy's here to kill you. And you're here to entertain people by beating the shit out of him while he tried to kill you. And like, I basically went into that fight going like, you're way better than this lad. You're going to destroy him. You've done all the work. This is like your coming out party. And that's a shit attitude to have. And there was a level of like, I trained my balls off for that fight. I was in great shape going over there. You know, I don't feel like, I can't lie to myself and say, oh, you could have trained harder in the camp. I did fucking train as hard as I could have, like. And I went into it in the shape I felt I should have been in. But on the night, my attitude was like, yeah, you're going to beat this guy. It's going to be great. You're going to fucking, you know, put on a show in front of Bellator here. And like, it wasn't vicious. It wasn't like that, like fucking fighting for your life kind of primal instinct of like survive. Yeah. You know? So yeah, there was like, it didn't hit me as fucking much in like my like heart of like, get this fucking done. It was more like, enjoy this experience, have a good time, fucking show how good a martial artist you are, and all that. Like, that's lovely, but it's bollocks. You know what I mean? Get in and kill a cunt. That's what you're here for. Like.
That's hilarious. I was reading a post that you put up on Facebook, and I believe that this is probably what you're talking about. You said that I've been doing this. I was at that door before, but my arrogance was my undoing. Is that basically what you're talking about? You were arrogant going into it. You didn't really put. Yeah, you trained, but you didn't. Yeah.
When you want to display how good a martial artist you are against somebody, you clearly don't fucking value that guy's skill set at all. And I didn't with Amandowski. I just thought like, here's a guy. He's beat a few Italians. He thinks he's fucking legit. I've watched his grappling technique. He's not. He's crap. I'll batter him. And that's a shit attitude. And I fucking look back at myself and I go, you absolute twat. Yeah. What were you thinking there? This guy's coming in and it's one big fucking opportunity. He's fighting for his life and you're taking him for granted. You twat. So, yeah, like this guy, Antonio Jones, he fought in the Dana White Contender Series. He lost to a tall, skinny white guy. He's fighting another tall white guy. Like, he's obviously seeing this as his shot at redemption. And he's coming in fucking wanting it bad. So it's on me to put that away and to have that fucking fear inside me to know that like he's going to come and he's going to throw everything he has at you. And you're going to be there. You're going to like, have you done the work? And you know, like, thankfully I can go, yeah, I've spent the last 9 years fucking working on that situation. You know, I have that in the locker. I have that behind me. I've faced all the difficult shit. Go face this difficult shit, but perform on the fucking night. Like, so yeah, I'm pumped. Like, you know, there's no other way of saying it.
The definition of raw bastard right there.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
I'm listening to myself speaking. I'm like, yeah, you're pretty fucking pumped up for this one.
Yeah. So yeah, talking about Antonio Jones who you're facing, does that kind of stuff mean anything to you? The fact that he was on Dana White's Contender Series, the fact that he was seen as a guy who was good enough to go there and compete. He did lose there, but he was there. He was good enough to get there and compete. Does that mean something to you, fighting these type of guys?
Yeah. Like, of course. It kind of means more in the fact that I know he's going to be motivated to get redemption, because I know how I felt after I lost my debut, and like that was kind of his big fight. If you know, he'd already lost one fight before that, but he'd been on a 4-fight streak. He was Fury FC champion or whatever, and then he lost that last fight, and this is his next fight since. So there's a level of like, there's just hurt in your soul from that. And he's going to want to come out and fucking prove, no, fuck you, I'm not done yet. It's on me to fucking stop that. It's on me to be the more vicious cunt, and it would be more like, I remember what it was like being in your position, and I'm going to fucking murder you for it. Like, I know what you're coming with. I've felt that. I've had that in my life. Like, you know, I've had that thing happen. So I'm shutting you down, buddy. This isn't happening. Not today.
I suppose that's a dangerous guy. You know what that felt like. You know, guy coming 100%. In. Yeah.
No, that's the thing. He's to be respected, this guy. Like, as in, like, I'm a fucking serious martial artist, but this guy's coming in with everything he has. And, like, at the end of the day, man, it's on me to be cool, calm, collected, and fucking clinically put that guy away. I feel like I've done the work to be a better martial artist, and any cunt who's just coming in and giving it a good slog, but he is going to come in and give it a good slog. There's no two ways about it.
What's that like you played rugby for a long time, you played at a good level. What's it like in fighting where, you know, you have a bad day at the office, where in rugby you have a bad day and you'll probably play next week, redeem yourself, but in fighting you could be waiting months. So what's that like, kind of sitting on that?
Absolutely horrendous.
Yeah. I thought so.
Like, I wanted to fight next week, the week after, and all I wanted was a chance to prove I'm still a tank and I'm still fucking well able to beat I've worked incredibly hard to be good at this, and you all think I'm crap because I've lost a fight now, or I just got caught, I switched off for a couple of seconds. All I want is the opportunity to prove that's not Will fucking Fleury.
Yeah.
And I didn't get that for fucking nearly a year, man. So that year just ate my fucking soul away. Now, thankfully, that was huge motivation to me. I was super motivated to just not let that fucking be my story. But it's tough. Like, there's no ways about, like,
it's unusual though, isn't it?
I know what it's like to lose now.
Yeah.
I know what it's like to have people fucking see you as a lesser martial artist because you got caught in a fucking fight. And that is the game. Like, this is what we play. There are consequences. Deal with it, like.
Yeah.
But I don't ever want to be there again.
Yeah.
You know, it's shit. It really is.
And
there's a level of hurt there that can make you do really good stuff, can make you very motivated, make you very, like, you know, determined to succeed. But don't, like, I hadn't fucking, like, I'd lost the kickboxing fight before this, but I kind of just had, like, fight, success, good buzz, that's great. And, like, I'm obviously aware, like, look, fuck you, you're beatable. But it wasn't real in my soul, if you know what I mean. Now that fucking emotional reality has been hit. So I know what I don't want to go back to. And I know what I'm willing to do to not go back there.
Yeah. It's really unusual though, isn't it, fighting where, like, it all comes down to one night. Like, you could have, like, you know, weeks of great training, like sparring. You're like, why can't people see this? It's just this one moment where I switched off. It's really unusual.
It's shit. Well, like, look, it's the game.
Yeah.
Like, you've accepted that. And, like, you got into this knowing that was the thing that was going to be the way it is.
Yeah.
But, like, I wish people could see how good I am. Like, I beat the crap out of everyone all the time. So why can't we know all this? And, like, why don't I get to do this 50 times a year and I'd win 49 of those fights and that'd be great. Like, and even if you won 45 or whatever the fuck, you'd be considered, like, if it was a league format, it'd be like, oh yeah, well, the best guy will show up and you just be the best and that'll be great. Whereas this is like one night, you get judged for the next 6 months on how you did that night. But that's the fucking game. Show up on the night. Be mentally prepared that that's the thing you're facing into here. So, yeah, look, it's kind of like, it's frustrating in a way that it all comes down to one evening and your whole skill set won't get displayed. But if your skill set's good enough, you'll win that evening anyway. And if your mentality is good enough, you'll win anyway. So just embrace that, like.
I seen, Will, that the plan seems to be for a lot of these Irish fighters now that have been signed up by Bellator to fight 2, maybe 3 times a year, obviously with the 2 cards in Dublin.
And that seems to be their plan for us as well, which is kind of frustrating. Like,
I did see an interview with you where you said you have a plan for after this fight, you want to be on the Dublin card and then possibly a Newcastle card at the end of the year. Was that right?
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to. Like, look, nothing's going to happen unless you're fighting regularly and you're staying active and you're getting in people's head. Like, if you see me in February and you see me again in September, you've kind of forgotten what Will Fleury's all about in the meantime. If I'm fighting 4 or 5 times a year, there's a fucking thing happening. It's like, oh, Will Fleury's gone over here now.
Yeah.
So, like, you have to have those fights in between. Like, I love fighting in Dublin, but I want to fight everywhere. You know, like, I've already got to go to Jordan and South Africa and fucking Rome and a couple of mad places with this. I want to travel the world with this shit. You know? And, like, I want to fight all, like, I want to take on the best guys in the world, and not just in Dublin. So, like, you know, I've been having this conversation with fucking, you know, John and Bellator and whatever.
Yeah.
And it is just like, get me more regular fucking appearances. But it's not like, if I keep smashing guys and you keep creating a buzz, they're going to want to put you on cards anyway. So just keep smashing guys and creating a buzz. That's all you can do.
I'm sure they love that as well, though.
It's been frustrating, like, even to lose in Rome and then to have to wait till next February. That's fucking killer.
Yeah.
Don't ever do that to me again.
But I'm sure they love that. I'm sure they love that they have you who wants to fight regularly. They're looking for fights, because I'm sure there's guys who don't necessarily want to do that, or they want to kind of sit back and kind of pick their fights, whereas you're like, just give me somebody. I want to fight somebody.
Yeah, like, no doubt there are a few. But like, I think there's a ton of guys here, especially in SB, who are willing to fight and want to go out and fight. Like, I know Smullen wanted on that London card as well, big time, and he didn't get on it. And he's frustrated now. He's waiting until September. So, like, there are guys here who want to fight who aren't getting the opportunity to. And look, I completely accept there are probably guys who are just, like, happy enough to fight twice a year as well. I'm not one of them. I know other lads here aren't. So it's on us to get out and make the noise and get the fights. But yeah, it's not planned for you. Like, you should be fighting 4 times a year, like 5 times a year even.
Moving away from the fight slightly, I saw a video. It was you and the WWE wrestler Sheamus doing a workout video. Holy shit. Sheamus was in a hoop, but, like, it was an intense workout. But, like, I assume you knew you were in camp at that point, because your cardio was through the roof. I'm not sure if you're like that all year round, but that was insane.
I was kind of surprised. Now, look, man, like, here's the thing. That lad's a fucking animal at what he does. Yeah. But what he does is quite different to, like, fighting where somebody has to get tired. Like, their sport isn't till you're done. Like, you know, it's an explosive movement. You dance around, you recover. An explosive movement, you dance around, you recover. Whereas MMA, it's like, if I can keep going and keep battering you, I'm going to be the winner. So we're trained for that. Like, so that was big. Like, it's a different sport. He's doing a different thing. And my thing was, like, you know, I'm going to last longer than you. And that's like, you know, I've built an engine over the years. Like, so I was kind of surprised at, like, how bollocks he was. But then I was thinking about it and I was like, yeah, but he's designed for an explosive movement and then rest. Yeah. And I'm designed to keep going, keep exploding, keep moving. And then, like, the workout was more similar to an MMA type thing as well. If it had been throwing a bag in the air 40 times as high as he could, he might have been a better athlete than me at that. Like, and he, like, here's the thing, man. That lad, I want to give him fucking serious props. He's a hero, man. Yeah. He was the coolest motherfucker I've ever dealt with. Like, he showed up, having a great chat with him beforehand, stayed around for a bit of crack afterwards. Really genuinely nice human being. There's a load of kids there after. He spent ages taking photos with him. Like, can't say enough good shit about that lad, man. Sheamus is a hero, and, like, even the buzz off him, like, the level of respect he had for fighters, he made me want to like wrestling a lot more, if you know what I mean. Yeah,
I was watching that and I seen his other videos as well. But did you get anything from that? As in, like, did you get, like, exposure to a different type of crowd? Did you hear people, like, reaching out to you or anything like that? Because a lot of people watch that video.
Yeah, a bit, like, as in, like, not a massive crossover of, like, you know, nothing huge.
Oh, we lost him. Oh. So I think potentially Will Fleury's phone went dead. If it went dead, we'll edit this out and we'll finish it there. But that was fun. So Will's phone went dead. Before we rang him, he said he had like 20% or something like that. So that was fun. But thanks for coming on, Will. And no problem. We won't hold it against you. Good luck in the States. We're looking forward to it. But yeah, let's move on to UFC 239, which goes down this weekend. UFC 239 goes down this weekend. It's Jones versus Santos. It goes down in Las Vegas. And as I said, it's headlined by Jon Jones versus Thiago Santos in the main event. Amanda Nunes and Holly Holm take the co-main event spot. But we're going to stick and start with Jones versus Santos. We'll go down the full main card, give our predictions. So I'm going to throw it to you first. Not about the fight exactly, but about the card.
Yep.
This is a pay-per-view card in the UK and Ireland. It's the first pay-per-view card that the UFC are actually going to do. I don't think they've ever done one in the past, but this is BT's new thing. They're going to put a selection of cards on pay-per-view. This is the first. Is it worthy?
No, it's not. Fuck BT. It's not one bit worthy. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's a good card. It's a really good card, but I'm not paying for it.
Yeah.
It didn't affect me going pay-per-view because I wasn't paying for BT anyway. So
yeah. Here's another question: is any card worthy?
No, not when I'm paying for a BT subscription.
Yeah.
That was part of the deal. If you're going to make it clear from the outset that you're going to have some cards pay-per-view, fair enough. People, it's open to customers. You're being clear and honest with customers. This just feels a bit underhanded.
Bit money grabby.
Yeah, as in you have customers who will, as in Noel, subscribe specifically to BT to get UFC, and now he's been landed with a pay-per-view. And then you have the issue, like you said, it was some selected cards. So like the cards that aren't pay-per-view, what does it say about them? Yeah. So basically, basically what it was, you're going to have these big Jon Jones cards and McGregor cards pay-per-view. Yeah. So what about the other ones? Are they not worthy? Should I even tune in? Yeah. What's the point?
Yeah, it's weird.
What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I don't like it. I think like the fact that the UFC, I think, is struggling a little bit in Europe in a way. Like they put on cards in Europe and they do sell them out for the most part. But I think in terms of like, you know, selling pay-per-views, I don't know how well they're going to do. Just because there's a difference with boxing, I think, and with, say, WWE, is because when they brought their product out, they said, this is what we're going to do. We're going to have pay-per-views. We're going to have free TV. And there was a structure to it. When you bring out the UFC, and when the UFC comes to the UK and into Ireland, what they said to us was, you pay for this subscription and you'll get all events because, you know, you're staying up to this hour. So when you change that proposition to customers, I think that's a big problem. Yeah. You don't want to make the proposition worse. You want to make it better. And I don't think this makes it better. I understand having like Mayweather versus McGregor on pay-per-view. Of course, that's boxing. But I understand events like that where it's like it's not a real kind of it's I know what different. You mean. It's
But the thing you have as well is with boxing, generally the boxing over here that's pay-per-view is where it's UK or Ireland stars who are headlining the pay-per-view. So there's a connect there. As in the UK it's generally Joshua, Dillian White, Tyson Fury or guys like that, and they're guys who you get a lot more access to over here because they're UK or from Ireland. Whereas with the American boxing, that generally wasn't pay-per-view over here. It might have been pay-per-view in America, but it would have been shown by, say, Sky or something as part of your subscription. Whereas now we're getting sold Jon Jones as a pay-per-view star, and we both agree that he is a pay-per-view star in the US. But he's not a pay-per-view star over here. He just isn't. Because it's different if you want to bring him over here and fight him over here a couple of times, build his profile over here, and then market him as a pay-per-view star. But they're not going to do that. So yeah, to me it's a money grab.
Sounds like a money grab. But on to the fight. Thiago Santos, is he worthy of this title fight based on what his resume has been at this weight class?
Yeah. I think you're going to have that discussion with everybody who gets matched against Jones now. Are they worthy? I think they are. I don't think there's too many people who I would argue shouldn't have a title shot against Jones, because he's just cleaning out the division, and you're going to have guys who probably wouldn't get a title shot if the division were a bit deeper. Yeah. But it's not. So it is what it is. I have no problem with Santos getting the fight. Yeah, like if you want to go by UFC rankings, which you know we have our problems with, he is ranked number 2 after Daniel Cormier. We know Daniel Cormier is not taking the fight, so I think it does make sense in that sense. But are we getting into the territory of a fight that happened not too long ago? Valentina Shevchenko fought Jessica Eye, and that turned out to be an enormous mismatch. And Jessica Eye probably deserved the title fight based on how the rankings are going and based on what her resume was. So do you feel like going into this one, and it's probably going to take your prediction into account, but do you feel like we're almost getting into the territory of Jon Jones is basically having mismatches at this point in his career? I think we are. I think we are. It's not sad to see because he's so good, and it's a lot of fun watching him be so good. But bringing more eyes onto the fight, it's not great for that. As in, people want to watch entertaining fights, and what can often happen in cases like this is it might just be a boring fight.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we are heading to that territory. I will still watch it because I enjoy watching Jon Jones. I think he's a fantastic athlete. He's a special guy. Even though he definitely still has some of that Tyrannobol in the system, and he's fighting with that. But yeah, that's for another day.
It's just a few picograms. I agree with you. And that's why I posed the question. I think that at this point in the division, it's hard to find really, really qualified contenders that he hasn't already beaten. I think Daniel Cormier is the big one, and he's beat Daniel Cormier a few times. I think it would be fascinating to see him at heavyweight. It seems like he's waiting to see if the UFC will pay him a bit more, which is rightfully so. Do that.
No problem with that.
You're probably making the same amount of money now against guys who like you're probably easily going to beat. Now, of course, Santos, he's not without skill. He's good.
Absolutely not.
You know, he is good, and he's shown that. I just don't think he's good enough for Jon Jones. There's always that possibility of a big punch or a big kick, especially in Santos's case, because he's a great kicker. Yeah. But I think it's very, very slim, the chances.
Noel has said it on here a couple of times, with guys like Jones and Silva at the time, you don't see the one coming that's going to beat them. Who's to say it couldn't be Santos? I personally don't think it's going to be Santos, but you never know. So, like, break it down for me. How does Santos get a win here, if he is to get a win?
I really don't know. It's going to be aggression, and similar to the first Gustafsson fight, where Gustafsson put Jon Jones in situations that he's never been in with the wrestling. Like, Gustafsson took down Jon Jones.
I actually watched that fight recently for the first time, and the commentators made a huge deal of Gus taking Jones down.
It's huge because he hasn't been taken down, and that didn't necessarily win the fight for Gustafsson. He didn't win it with wrestling, but I think the fact that he made Jon Jones second guess himself, that was a huge thing. So I think if Santos, or anyone for that case, can put Jones in a position where he hasn't really been. I think a lot of people were looking at Rumble Johnson back in the day as being the guy who could have done that, because Rumble Johnson has a skill set where he'll come forward and land big punches. Santos, I don't know if he's that guy. He's a good kicker, but he plays on the outside. I think it's going to look like a typical Jon Jones fight against, you know, a fairly good striker, where Jon Jones is just too rangy for them. But if Santos can be aggressive, come forward, and not do what Anthony Smith done, because that was a big problem with that fight, where Anthony Smith just lay it back, and he was almost too defensive for his own good. And he did last. You know, he lasted the full fight, the 5 rounds, but he said it after how disappointed he was. He probably would have been preferred to be finished if he actually showed what he truly could do. And Dan Hardy was talking about this this week on the Inside the Octagon. He was talking about how Jon Jones makes guys fight Jon Jones fights. And that's what happens. So if Santos can fight his fight, maybe he has a shot. Or if he lands that lucky punch, or, you know, lucky's probably the wrong word, but if he can land that, you know, Hail Mary, I'll say that. But I just think it's going to look like a Jon Jones fight. Yeah,
I think what we've said so far is very much reflected in the odds for the fight. Jones is 1-8, which is basically the same price he was to beat Smith. A massive price. You just don't see that price in MMA all too often.
No.
It's only with guys like Jon Jones, probably Anderson Silva back in the day. Thiago Santos 9-2 doesn't do anything for me. If you fancy Jon Jones to KO him, 6-4, 16-5 on points. So
he's been finished at middleweight. So I know the weight cut could be different, and Jon Jones isn't the biggest puncher, but ground and pound, wouldn't be surprised. So so looking at Tapology, I'd imagine everybody's going with Jon Jones.
100%.
No, it's 90-10.
Okay.
Yeah. Weird. 90-10. It's still huge. You know.
I'll take Jones by KO.
Yeah.
Ground and pound.
I'll take Jones by KO. Ground and pound.
Okay.
Yeah, same. Could be a submission. Co-main event, Amanda Nunes defends her title against Holly Holm. Holm has been a girl who has been floating around the title picture for a long time. She, of course, historically beat Ronda Rousey, and that's kind of where she made her name, aside from, you know, making her name in boxing. But what's your thoughts on this fight? Is this similar to the main event to you, or is it a bit more competitive?
I think this has the potential to be a lot more competitive. I think Amanda's still very much improving, and I think Amanda could make it look a lot like the main event. Yeah, we don't know. We don't know how high her ceiling is yet. Her ceiling to me is very high because I think she's amazing. But I expect her to win. I expect Holm to give her a good fight, but I think Amanda is very underrated as well. I think the UFC don't do enough to mark her. I think she's very special. like she's an animal.
She's beast.
Did you see her during when her partner Nina Ansaroff was fighting in the last embedded? She is huge.
Yeah.
She is an animal.
Yeah.
She's so big.
She's huge. Yeah. She's I don't know how she makes that weight sometimes.
Unreal.
Just talk of her going down. Fuck off. It's not happening. The problem with women's MMA is just, the talent pool isn't quite there compared to the MMA in the men's division. And that's not a slight on women's MMA. It's just it is what it is.
And it's not around as long as the men's.
Exactly. It just is what it is. So I think the kind of percentage of error is bigger in women's MMA in terms of picking, because we just don't know. We don't have that pool of who Amanda Nunes faced. Like, she's faced loads of different types of fighters, but a lot of them are kind of like she was always going to beat them. Like Raquel Pennington, I don't think that was ever going to be competitive. Cyborg, huge win, but she's a kind of a power striker. But like, if you look at Jon Jones, for example, and you want to kind of compare these two fights, Jon Jones has seen like every different type of style that we've seen in MMA, really. And I don't think that's the case for Amanda Nunes. So you just don't know. Yeah. Can someone like Holly Holm, who's a really technical striker, who can, who has good footwork, can move around, stay on the outside, use her jab, use her kicks, and just not get into a brawl? Can she win that fight? I think so. I think she can win that fight. Do I think it's the likely possibility? I don't. And I think Holly Holm, she's not overrated, but I think, if you look at her losses and you look at kind of the way she's been floating around, I think the fact that she's been floating around the championship picture for a long time is kind of because of them big wins, like the Ronda Rousey one.
She had a big skid after that Ronda loss.
She did, yeah. And she clearly has some deficiencies in her skills. I don't think she's quite as well rounded as a lot of girls in the division, especially not Amanda Nunes. So I think Amanda wins the fight. But it's not like the Jon Jones one where I would be absolutely like, if Santos wins that fight, especially if he wins it in a way that isn't just a knockout punch. Like, if he wins it and he like uses his skills and
if he wins a decision, like a 5-round decision,
I would be like insanely surprised.
Yeah,
Holly Holm, I wouldn't. I just wouldn't, because we don't know Amanda Nunes' ceiling, and everybody's talking about her being like the best women's MMA fighter of all time. This is usually when they lose.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with Amanda Nunes, but I wouldn't be hugely surprised.
Yeah, I think Amanda very much has the potential to be the greatest woman. The way she's going, she's heading in that direction. That trajectory.
She might be.
Yeah, she might be. I think that's reflected in the prices: 1-4 on Amanda and 5-2 on Holly.
Yeah.
Amanda by KO is even money if you like her to smash Holly into another realm.
Smash.
I'll take Amanda as well. I think she's amazing. I rate her so highly. So yeah, I'm gonna take Amanda.
Yeah. And on Tapology, it's 81-19. So Nunes 81, Holm 19. So that kind of makes sense as well with the odds. Next up, when I get the card, it is Ben Askren. Man, this is a great fight. Ben Askren versus Jorge Masvidal.
Yeah.
I was looking on Reddit today, and someone said, put up a topic thread and said the Ben Askren effect, and it was just a list of videos from this event. And like, his video was like triple the amount of views of everybody else. Everybody loves him, or at least everybody is interested in him, which is the main thing. A lot of people don't like him, but that's always fun as well. And Jorge Masvidal is on the best run, maybe of his career, potentially, but definitely in the UFC. I think, especially in terms of like fan reaction, a lot of people are behind him. But what's your thoughts on this fight?
I think Ben Askren's a promoter's dream.
Oh yeah,
I absolutely love him. I think he's hilarious.
How did Dana White not see that before?
His trash talk is immense. It's so simple and like just it's so cutting of what people like. He just breaks it down so perfectly when he's chatting shit about someone.
Yeah.
It's a pity we haven't seen Jorge at a couple of the press conferences to go back and forth with him.
Yeah. Because Jorge is good as well in that way. Like, he doesn't trash talk.
No,
and he hates it, but he's fun.
He's fun. So yeah, it's a pity we haven't seen that. I think Jorge looked phenomenal against Darren Till.
Yeah.
I think Ben is just gonna have the style to negate him.
Yeah.
I think. He's just gonna wrestle him.
Yeah. And it's weird. I said he's on the best run. It probably just feels that way. He has 2 losses before the Darren Till.
He just has a bit of momentum now behind him.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? But yeah, I guess the Stephen Thompson one was like a bit of a weird fight as well. Yeah, I'm very torn on this one. Like, I think Askren should win it, because I think he has the style to do it, and historically Jorge Masvidal has struggled against this type of guy. If you look back over his career, like the likes of Benson Henderson, who's not the same type of guy, he's very different, but he can wrestle and he can grapple. You look at Habilov, similar-ish. Melendez back in the day. I just feel like it definitely is the style, especially because Masvidal doesn't mind grappling,
Mm.
and he's not the type of guy who has a sense of urgency to get back to his feet when
Yeah.
he gets down there. So if Ben Askren does get him down, he probably would fancy himself to try submit him off his
Yeah.
back, which can be a problem because you're spending too much time on your back.
Yeah.
So I think the style-wise, it should be Masvidal, but then I just think, looking back at the Robbie Lawler fight, Askren took a beating early on. He survived, but I wonder if that happened again. Like, Jorge Masvidal might go for submission, whereas Lawler, I felt, was kind of, I don't know, he was just looking for the strikes. So I'm going to go Askren, but I'm very torn on this one.
Really?
I'm very, very torn on this one. I just think Masvidal is a fighter's fighter, and if he does land a good shot, like against Till, like, he's slick. He's just very slick. And I think if it stays striking, it's almost a mismatch.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna go with Ben Askren, but I'm very torn.
Yeah. I think Jorge's a very live dog in this fight. Is he entering a purple patch now towards the end of his career? A little resurgence? I don't know. He had taken a couple of losses before the Till fight. I think Askren very much has a style where he can negate Masvidal on the ground. Like this, when you say this type of guy, Masvidal will struggle against. This is the top end of that guy.
Yeah.
We're looking at now.
You see what Maya done to him as well.
Yeah.
Like, he done great against Maya in terms of getting out of some weird positions, but like Maya is excellent on top, of course, and he smothers people. But Askren is a different level of smothering.
Yeah.
He's just a crazy individual.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really good fight. It's 61% Askren, 39% Yoke. As we're going down the card, it's getting closer and closer.
Askren is a 2-5 favourite, and Jorge is 7-4. Like, if you like Jorge, there's a lot of value in that, I think.
I might look at it.
Askren's probably a little bit short, given I don't think there was any debate over the stoppage against Robbie.
No,
he did take some shots. He showed he has a chin.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna take Ben.
I like it. Luke Rockhold makes his light heavyweight debut against Jan Blachowicz. What's your thoughts on this fight? Luke Rockhold, he's announced this a while ago, and it's finally happening. Do you like Luke Rockhold at light heavyweight?
Yeah. He's always said he was going to move up eventually.
He always looked huge.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
Yeah.
Looks a big dude.
Yeah.
So yeah. But again, it's this thing of moving up in class. There's so many different examples you can take from. As in, we've seen Anthony Pettis move up, looked wonderful against Thompson. I think that was a matchup that suited Pettis in that case. But then you could have argued that Holloway was a good matchup for Dustin moving up, or Dustin was a good matchup for Max moving up first time out.
So there's no rule.
There's no given rule for this. It's different fighter by fighter. So I think it's a very good matchup for your first fight at a new weight class. I think it's winnable for Luke. So yeah. Yeah,
I think Luke Rockhold's style, if you're talking about, fighting bigger guys, I don't think it's going to be a huge problem. As in, like, he's not this like slick striker who gets taken down and smothered by people. So I don't think that's a bad thing. The chin part could be an interesting one because, a lot of people talk about how Luke Rockhold gets wobbled in a lot of fights. Was that the weight cut? We don't know. We'll find out probably. But I think this is a good fight for Rockhold going up, and I think it's a sensible one because Blachowicz, he's ranked number 6, but he's not a world beater. No, he's good. He's not a world beater. So like, I think it would have been like, it wouldn't surprise me if Luke Rockhold, I'm not sure what his record is lately. I know he had a couple of losses. Yeah, Yoel Romero was the last one. Jesus, that was bad.
I remember that one.
Yeah, I love you. So it wouldn't have surprised me if he was on a winning streak that the UFC would have put him straight into a title fight, which I think is a problem, especially when guys are moving up at times. So I'm glad he's getting someone a little bit lower down so we can see where he is.
And Blachowicz is a solid guy.
Solid guy, but not like, as I said, he's not a world beater. Yeah. So it's a good fight. It's a well-matched fight. I like it. I'm going to go Luke Rockhold. There's, of course, all them questions that you said with guys moving up. So, yeah, we'll see how he fares. I'm interested to see if Luke Rockhold can go on a run at light heavyweight because I think a fight with him and Jones is interesting just because he has a name and he has a lot of skills. Yeah. And I just don't know if anybody else really has the skills he has right now at that weight class apart from Cormier. So, yeah. I like the fight. I'm going to go Luke Rockhold. I
think that's the first thing that's came into a lot of people's minds with Luke moving up is potential matchup with Jon Jones. It's like, what else is at the weight class? You have the storyline there with AKA as well, with DC. Yeah. That stuff. I think if he gets 2 wins, he's probably in line for a title shot. If he beats Jan and then gets another win, probably in line. Definitely. The fight is priced probably accordingly to the fact that Luke is moving up. He's 1-2 and Jan Blachowicz is 6-4. I like Luke at 1-2. I'll take that.
They should definitely do Luke Rockhold versus Anthony Smith if Luke Rockhold wins, because they went on a back and forth as well. So there's a bit of story there, and then it makes sense for a number one contender fight.
The thing with that though is if you do that, then you have Smith has beaten Gus and Luke Rockhold.
Yeah, you have to give him a title.
You have to give him a title fight.
You do. There's no way to avoid it.
You just pay Jones money to move up.
Yeah,
because I don't really want to see Smith and Jones again.
Either do I. I don't think anybody does.
Nah.
And that's nothing to take. That's not taking anything away from Smith. Smith looked great in his last fight. Looked great. Michael Chiesa versus Diego Sanchez opens the main card. You've seen a lot of Diego Sanchez lately with the whole fights we've been giving you.
I've seen a bit of Chiesa. Anyway, he was actually one of the first guys I started watching.
Oh well,
yeah,
excellent. So so you're perfectly prepped for this one. What's your thoughts on the fight?
I think this is a really good fight.
Yeah,
it's a fun one. Yeah, I think it's a cracker to open the main card with.
Yeah.
Really fun one. Two crazy fuckers really just going at it. I was actually surprised that I'll open up with the prices. Chiesa is quite a big favourite. He's 1-4. Yeah. And Diego Sanchez 5-2. I'd be quite happy to take Sanchez at 5-2.
Nice.
But yeah, I think it's a really fun fight, and I'm looking forward to this one now.
Yeah, it's a really interesting one because like Chiesa will probably try grapple him, but Sanchez has some really great grappling, like really, really good grappling.
He just generally chooses not to use it.
He just doesn't use it. Although he did use it in his last couple of fights. But yeah, I think Michael Chiesa is going to be looking for the takedown. Sanchez is going to try keeping on the feet. It could get very wild.
I'm hoping it does.
I'm hoping it gets wild, yeah. I don't really know how to... I'm going to go Chiesa. But yeah, I'll go Chiesa. I just think Diego Sanchez, he's a little bit long in the tooth. He's taken quite a lot of damage over his career. And yeah, I just feel like it's going to be... I don't think it's going to be as exciting as you're hoping it's going to be. I think Chiesa is going to control a lot of it on the floor, but there's going to be glimpses of excitement from Sanchez. But yeah,
it's a teaser, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's one that like could be phenomenal.
It could be really fun.
But yeah, I don't disagree with you there. But I'm going to take Diego just because I love him.
Because love him. Yeah.
Little head case.
He is a head case. Is there? I think there's quite a few fights on the prelims. But what's the fight on the prelims that catches your eye the most?
Jack Marshman is on it again. Not necessarily his fight, but just we've talked before about his stuff with the army.
What's the crack? So
he said before they wouldn't let him out. I think he's finished in September, and obviously he said
so he's going against it here.
Pretty much, like he said the army. He said he was given a final warning in that like if he skipped town again, he was out with dishonourable discharge.
Yeah.
And then I assumed that he'd made an agreement then with the UFC that he wouldn't schedule him.
Yeah.
Obviously they've scheduled him and he's like, yeah, let's do it. So he's like, fuck you,
fucking
army.
Ruthless. Yeah, that's hilarious.
Better get a W again.
Yeah, he's finding a tough guy in Edmund Shabazian. He's good young fighter. There's a few fights on this card I'm really looking forward to.
on the card as well.
Gilbert Melendez against Arnold Allen. That is a fucking fight.
Yeah.
Holy shit. That is a great fight.
That's the one leading into the main card.
That is that's a big fight for Arnold Allen.
Yeah.
He's on. He's a good prospect for the European scene, so that's a good one. And I also like Yadong Song. That's how you say his name. He's good. He's fun against Perez. So watch that one. But yeah, I think it's an overall really good card. It's just a shame they're throwing it on pay-per-view, and everybody should boycott it.
Yeah, brilliant card, but it's not pay-per-view worthy. It's pay-per-view worthy in America. It's one where you'd look at and you'd say, yeah, I'll pay me $80 for that. Yeah,
exactly. But we're getting at 3 a.m. So I'm not staying up to watch that.
Fuck BT.
We leave it there. So let's move on to Educating Young Sean. So this is Educating Young Sean. This is where we give Sean a fight or 2 fights if Noel is in, and Sean rates them and gives us a review for those fights. Last week we gave you a fight which was a controversial one, so I'm very interested to see your thoughts on this. But I also thought it was actually a very fun fight as well. It was Nam Fan against Leonard Garcia. What was your thoughts?
Yeah, really fun fight. This was the first I'd seen of first and heard of Nam Fan.
Not many people have heard of him.
Yeah, obviously you've given me Leonard Garcia before. He's a crazy fucker,
he's
isn't
a weapon,
he? Yeah, he's just mental. Just winging his shots, swinging for the fences from the start. It was a really fun fight. There was a couple of things that were debatable in this: the scoring and the phantom tap from Leonard Garcia.
Start with the phantom tap.
Yeah, I thought he tapped.
Yeah,
I was watching it and I was like, he tapped. Yeah, he did tap.
Yeah.
He made the motion to tap, and I think when you can debate whether he was tapping, but he made a motion to tap, and if the ref moves in to stop it there, I don't think you can argue, because he made a motion that he was tapping.
It was the Brazilian tap, as they say.
Yeah.
Where you kind of tap just to make the hold get lighter. Yeah.
The thing was, I don't think he was tapping, because he didn't complain, or he didn't start gesticulating to the ref. So, I don't think he was, but I think the ref probably should have. If he sees that, he has to stop it. The scoring, I'm not too sure how you can score for Garcia, to be honest. Maybe you probably give him a round.
Yeah.
But to give a 30-27 to Garcia is
bizarre, isn't it?
It's utterly bizarre.
Like, when I saw the fight, and from what I remember, I see it as like one of the worst decisions in UFC history. I went back and I checked what other people were saying, and in hindsight, some people said it wasn't that bad, but I still feel like it was a really poor decision.
Yeah, like the third round, even say you have it 1-0 going into the third, like I'm not sure what, like, Garcia's coming forward, and that's fine, but you can't score him for winging a couple of pot shots and coming forward when Nam Phan is doing the clean and better work. It's a crap decision, to be honest. An Adelaide Bird job on that one, I think. Yeah,
it's I think with Leonard Garcia, he's actually had a few really questionable decisions going his way, and I think it's just that activity. You know, when one guy is technical and landing really good shots, which I thought Nam Phan was doing, and one guy is just very wild and is just doing a whole lot, is just moving a whole lot. I think the judges sometimes can't see the ones that are connecting. Like, they don't have the screens and the angles that we have. They just have, like, you know, watching through the cage. I'm pretty sure they have screens now, but back then they didn't have screens. They were watching through the cage, which you can understand. If somebody's just really active, you're like, I couldn't quite see if them shots landed, but it looked like it, so I'm going to score it to him. So that's probably what happened.
Yeah. I don't think that, like, you're probably right, that's what did happen. Yeah. But it's a crap excuse, that, as well.
Oh, it's a terrible excuse,
Because,
I'm not sure what happened, so I'm going to give it to the guy who, moved a lot. And
because I don't even think it was that close. Like, it was a fun fight, but I wouldn't have called it overly close, as in, you know, you can score the round either way, but I just thought Nam Phan was technically better.
Yeah.
But really fun fight to watch.
Yeah, we're not going to give you the second fight, but they did fight again. And
I seen that on Fight Pass,
So he got retribution for that one. One thing I do want to point out in that fight, I'm not sure if you noticed after it, two things actually. The first one is when the decision was given, and clearly, like, Leonard Garcia didn't think he was going to win, and he starts celebrating, and then it pans over and you see Greg Jackson, who was his coach, and even Greg Jackson was kind of like, okay, like, we won, but how? It was funny. Second thing was after the fight, Dana White actually met Nam Phan backstage and basically apologised for terrible judging.
That seems very un-Dana White to do as well, doesn't it? Normally he's like, don't leave it in the hands of the judges, which is a fucking shit thing to say. You, like, that's ridiculous.
They should have sacked him because he went the decision.
Yeah.
They should have, you know.
That's another argument.
Yeah, that would have been on tone for Dana White. I'm going to give you a classic fight. It's a really good one. Probably a lot of people's favourite fights of all time. So I'm just building up in that way already. It is Dan Henderson versus Mauricio Shogun Hua. It's their first fight from November 19th, 2011. Excellent. And that was on UFC 139. Excellent fight. So check that one out. So let's move on to Sean's Weird News and end the show.
So only a couple of things this week, Rob. First up, we have Francis Ngannou. Scary bastard is what
we learned about that on the weekend.
An absolute freak of nature with his power. So what we have here is him kicking someone who has a pad on the leg, but it's still scary. He's obviously quite a small guy in comparison to Ngannou here, so we'll play it. I love his chuckle.
I'm so afraid. Oh, Jesus.
Scary.
Watch that again. That is absolutely... Look at the size of him. And it's like, it's that thud as well.
Yeah.
Not those horrible leg kicks where it's just an absolute thud.
Yeah.
Like, he's at least 3 times the size of him.
Yeah,
at least.
Scary.
Fair play to your man for taking that. Jesus.
Scary.
Imagine no pad.
Oh.
That's what, like, these guys feel. He threw a few of them against Dos Santos.
Yeah, he did. And the thing about him is, as well, he's not from a Muay Thai background.
No.
So he's not going to have, like, Muay Thai kicks.
Exactly.
Can you imagine him with a bit of Muay Thai training in him? Oh.
Scary individual. That guy is scary.
Next up, Max Holloway was at it again. It's a return of Max Holloway on the Weird News.
Yeah.
He was at it. What's it called? The Bottle Cap Challenge is what he called it.
I'm sure people have seen this.
Yeah, people have definitely seen this. But it's
blown up. That's cool as fuck.
Yeah.
Here we go. Clean.
It's so clean, isn't it? It's just so satisfying to watch.
And he's very unfortunate that it didn't come off there.
Yeah.
I know people have said, he didn't get the bottle cap off, but it's very unfortunate. That was tight.
Yeah, that bottle cap is tight.
Yeah,
no
and it's
cheating
loose
here.
there. It's just, it just stayed on top of the cap, which is almost even more impressive. If I say so myself. Look at it. It's about to fall off.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really good.
It's so clean that it doesn't come off, doesn't it? It's so clean.
I wonder if anybody that's listening to this show has tried this. If you have
you tried
this video? I haven't. No, don't have the flexibility.
Yeah, yeah. I can't throw that kick. Like.
Yeah, I'll put it on the floor and do it like on the floor.
We have another one as well. This one where the lid came off. This one's a lot more power behind it.
Yeah,
but the lid is loose. Let's have it right.
Proper 12 as well. He tagged Conor McGregor. Of course he did. It's nice.
I mean, to be honest, it looks a little bit like the lid is sitting ready to be kicked off.
It does.
But
like, I can't do it. And what I'll give him, pretty high.
Yeah.
A lot of height to that.
A lot of dexterity to that one.
Definitely a lot of dexterity. The foot does come down, so it's not quite as clean as Holloway's, I don't think, but still beautiful. Well done. Sir, whatever his name is. John Mayer done it as well.
Yeah, I couldn't find his video. I was trying to find it.
Yeah.
But
because didn't Max Holloway tag John Mayer or something?
Yeah, he passed it on to him.
Passed on to him. Weird person to pass it on to John Mayer.
Yeah, they must be mates or something.
They must be.
So yeah,
must be a big fan.
That's all we have this week, Rob. No update on Spuds or anything of the like. So hopefully more on that next week. Hopefully some Max Holloway fashion next week as well. It's been a while since we had some of that.
Yeah,
so,
we miss Max Holloway's fashion. But speaking of Spuds, thanks to Will Fleury for popping in and chatting to us before his big fight in 2 weeks. And thanks, Sean, for the show, because you were great today.
Thanks, Rob.
And let us know your predictions for the UFC that goes down this weekend. Big card, pay-per-view here in the UK and Ireland. Let us know if you're going to buy it. I know there's a lot of people saying they're going to boycott it. I don't necessarily disagree with that. If you want it to not go pay-per-view in Ireland, maybe you should boycott this one and see what happens. But good pay-per-view for what it is, but I'm not going to pay for it. But thanks for listening. Cheers.
So apparently if you press this button somewhere here, it subscribes and you get all the notifications for the show. So hit that button there.
You have to click the bell though to get the notifications down the bottom.
Make sure you hit it and they get the ringer things because Rob didn't know. So it's the button there or there.
It's somewhere roughly around